Hi guys, in this video I'm going to do a Halloween cake. Now I had a quick sketch of some quite simple ideas using my new cake templates that I've got, and I'm going to start by creating some chocolate shards for the top of my cake. So I'm just going to use the colour melts, and I'll put links in the description box below to everything I've used. Now I think you can buy them in purple, but I couldn't get hold of purple, so I've used a mix of blue and red together to create my purple, and I've melted them in the microwave. Now mine are a little bit thick. You can make them slightly runnier by adding some shortening, and I've just spread it onto a piece of greaseproof paper, and then I'm just gonna put a selection of sprinkles all on there and some sugar pearls. You can use whatever sprinkles you like. I've added some black colour melts to these ones. I just put them at the side of those ones on my piece of greaseproof paper. Greaseproof paper is the same as parchment paper as well. So this time let's go for some purple sprinkles. And then some more of those black balls. Although they don't show up very well, but I wanted to keep this one quite dark looking. Now, with your chocolate bark, you can either let it dry and then cut it when it's fully dry, or you can try and cut it a little bit by scoring some lines in just before it dries. Now, I did mean to score lines in just before it dried, and I actually forgot about it and left it a little bit long, so it's fully set. And I'm going to make a skull for the top of my cake, and I'm using some modelling chocolate here. If it's a bit firm, you can stick it in the microwave, but only for a few seconds, otherwise it will be really soft and melt. So I put mine in and it is quite soft. So I'm starting with a ball, and I've just pressed in around the mouth area so it's a bit narrower. And then we're going to go in, can you see just at the side of the skull just there? And then just using a modelling tool, just press in for your nostrils. And something a bit rounder now for creating the eye sockets. And you can go as big as you like with this. I'm not aiming for a realistic skull with mine. Keep it a little bit cartoony looking. Put some little teeth in. So my skull is missing its bottom jaw. I thought that might make it a little bit easier for me to create. So now that I've made my skull, just make sure it's firmed up a bit before you start painting on details. I'm using edible dusts. I've just got cream and black, and we're just going to dust this on. So anywhere that you want to look more shadowed, put more of the black. So like in the eye sockets and the nostrils, around the teeth. Then we'll pop that to one side ready for later for going on the top of our cake. I've got 3 tiers for my cake. You'll notice it's actually polystyrene I'm using now. I have been full of cold this week, so I didn't want to make any actual real cakes and give anybody my cold, so I am just doing this on polystyrene. You would do exactly the same thing if you were using a real cake. The only difference is that you would dowel your cake, and I won't have to dowel these ones with it being polystyrene. And I've stuck my fondant to my board. So I've just gone around it with my cake smoothers just to give me a slightly smoother edge and sharper kind of corner. So once I've covered all my dummies, or cakes for you guys if you're doing it on real cake, which I imagine most of you will be, I've just added a bit of dark green edible dust to the bottom of my bottom tier. I just want it to look a bit darker. And I'm just using a little bit of royal icing to pop my bottom tier onto my cake board. Now you guys can spend much longer than I have done icing yours, because you can see it's not quite got sharp corners on that top edge, but we're going to be covering that up shortly, so you're not going to see it. I'm actually going to use royal icing to create a drip effect on my cakes. Now if you want, you can just use your little colour melts that we used earlier, but I thought I'd get a runnier consistency if I used my royal icing. And again, I've cheated and just used pre-made on this one. Mix your royal icing with black food colouring. I could have gone a little bit darker actually with this one because it looks more grey. And I'm just going to pop it onto the top of my cake, just kind of pushing it just past the top edge so that it drips down. Just make sure it is a runny enough consistency that it does drip, and remember the drips continue to go further down after you've left it. So just do this all the way around. Once I've done it on my bottom tier, I can then add my next tier. So remember, if you're using a real cake, you would have to have cake dowels in the centre of this, but mine are just polystyrene on this one. So you can see on this one where I didn't do a very good job with adding my fondant. And what I want to try and do is get my drips to drip over the bits where I've got little creases and cracks and lines to try and hide those mistakes. And can you also see I've just drawn in a little skull kind of shape and where I want those drips to go around it, so that you start to see a skull showing through the drips. Now I've piped that with a thicker consistency of royal icing so that it doesn't drip there. And then using the runnier consistency, I'm just using a paintbrush to paint in between where I've piped. Then I'm just going to stick my skull onto the top. You can use your royal icing again, and I apologise, the chocolate shards look quite dark here so you can't really see them very well, but I'm just pushing those into the royal icing on the top of my cake. And I've just put some balls of purple fondant on that were left from the cake itself. There it is, all finished. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Apologies that it was a quicker one than usual. Don't forget to check out all my other Halloween videos. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.